Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the update to my Herald of Perfection deck. If you aren't as familiar with this deck, it's just based around summoning out Herald of Perfection, which is a complete lockdown card. The idea is to just keep locking down your opponent with this card, dumping fairy monsters to keep your opponent from doing really anything, and then also backing it up with other powerful monsters so you can do more than just lock it down. But if you combine Herald with some other cards, your opponent will have nothing that they can do, which can create a very annoying situation if you set it up on the field correctly. So first off, we're going to be running a bit of normal monsters, Dunames, Dark Witch, Megami, and Shine Ball, all helping you summon out Herald, and I'll talk about that a little bit. Also the Shine Balls obviously helping out with the Agent Engine that we're running in this deck. And then 2 Archlord Kristya. You can run this at 3 because it's very important for the deck. So I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm currently running it at 2. The problem is if you draw it at the right times, it isn't as useful. But still considering it, running it at 2 right now. The idea is that you want to have something that keeps your opponent from special summoning. So once you lock them down, you have this in addition, and they won't be able to do very much, and you'll have additional power on top of that. And then we're going to be running 3 Herald of Orange Light, helping us out in a few different ways. Obviously, Fairy going along with the deck, a Tuner helping us get out Synchros, and also negating effects, which can be very big, loading up the graveyard for Kristya. Just this card in general makes the deck flow really well. Then 1 Honest and a light-based deck helping us out. Not necessary in this deck, but still can be very useful if you want to win a battle with Herald or something. That can be nice. And then 2 Manju. Manju searching out what we need for this deck, very important for trying to make the deck a bit more consistent. And then 3 Master Hyperion. So obviously with an agent build, you'll be running these guys to really blow up your opponent. Very, very powerful. Obviously after you lock them down, you can use this to blow up their field even more and just go for the win. And then 3 Agent of Creation Venus, so allowing us to load the Shine Balls, making XYZ plays, making plays with the ritual cards, setting up what we need for Master Hyperion, just making the deck flow very well. And then Agent of Mystery Earth, just helping us out, searching out Venus, and then giving us access to Synchros as well, allowing us to use Transmodify, so doing a bunch of additional things as well. And then 3 Herald of Perfection, so obviously with the deck's based around just negating spells, traps, and monster effects, which is very, very powerful in combination with what we're doing. If you just have this and Archlord Kristya, your opponent won't have really many things that they can do, which can be very powerful. And then 2 Advanced Ritual Art, allowing us to summon our ritual card out very, very easily, which is very nice, which is why we're running the normal monsters. Dark Factor of Mass Production, really nice for this deck, allowing us to recycle the normal monsters so we can set up what we need, have more fodder for certain things, summon Kristya because we're setting up the graveyard in the way we want. A lot of things additionally you can do because you have cards like this. And then 1 Dark Hole, 1 Dawn of the Herald. Obviously you're focused more on Advanced Ritual Art because it's a little bit better, but Dawn of the Herald can still be very, very useful to recycle, which is pretty nice because of how the deck works. It makes sense to be able to recycle. And then 2 Preparation of Rites, adding to the consistency, getting what we need back, and searching out. 1 Transmodify, just allowing us to bump up our fairies, which is really nice to set up what we need to do. We can make a lot of additional plays with this. Just a lot of really cool stuff there. And then 2 Upstart Goblins, adding to the consistency. Debatable if you want to run this. Like I was saying, you could run 3 Kristya instead. You could run 3 Manju. It's up to you. I'm running this to thin the deck a little bit and get what we need, but still some ideas I'm throwing around. And then 3 Royal Decree, allowing us to just shut down traps on the field. Additionally, because we're using a lockdown base deck, this makes a lot of sense and can be really annoying for your opponent to deal with. So now for the extra deck, we're going to have a big variety in terms of what we're using. A lot of different levels we have. So Armory Arm, Catastor, HTS, Ancient Sacred Wvyren can be a really nice one to use. Armades, Black Rose, Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragon, Stardust. A lot of the ones you'd expect with the variety of levels we have. And now for the XYZ, Gachi Gachi, Herald, helping us recycle can be very good for this deck. Dark Mist, obviously with the Shine Balls, can be good to have this. For the 4 stars, we do have some 4 stars, not that many, but allows us to get out Exciton, Gagaga, and Silent Honor, very useful ones that I find you definitely want to have in your deck if you're able to use them. So now for the side deck. If you haven't seen a video of mine before, side decks in my videos are kind of just recommended cards that I talk about that could be useful for the deck. These aren't side deck cards, they're more just recommended ideas that people can think about. So you could definitely run this with a Chaos Engine. You could run like Djinns, which will help you with the rituals, and then you'll have Dark, so you could bring in Chaos like Blackluster Soldier, run cards like Tragodia, have access to different XYZs, Tour Guide, a lot of other stuff you could do there, so that's up in the air if you want to run that. Rescue Rabbit, you can definitely run this with Dunames Dark Witch to get easy XYZs out. Send you additional power to search out. Soul of Purity and Light, because you have a lot of stuff in the graveyard, you can use this to set up the graveyard and bring this card out and bring in some additional plays and also do 6-star XYZs. So some additional stuff you could do there. Tethys is a really interesting card for this deck because you can bring it out with Transmodify and it can help you draw out more fairies and you do additional plays. So Tethys can be a really good card for this deck. And additionally, if you have that, you can use Transmodify to bring out other things as well. So there's a lot of cool plays you can do depending on what levels you're using. There's definitely room for other XYZs if you want to run like Heretic Sun Dragon. If you get out 2 Hyperions to blow up stuff, that's definitely an interesting thing you could do. And there's some other plays you could do. You could do 6-star XYZs with some of the other stuff we were talking about. We're not running MST, but you can run MST if you want. Not really the goal with this deck because we're trying to negate everything with what we have. Pot of Duality kind of runs in the way of what you're doing, but can be useful to get what you need. Solidarity, I was running that in my last Herald deck because they're all fairies, so you could definitely run this to get a bit more boost power, but we're focusing more on lockdown than power, so it's up to you. Safe Zone, another way to protect things, can be very useful for Herald, so that's definitely a choice. Some more of the lockdown stuff, you can run 7 Tools Wiretap, the new one is pretty good. Instead of running Royal Decree, and you can run more generic traps, so that's up to you. And Vanity's Emptiness, another card that could be really good for this deck, keeping your opponent from special summoning. Because you're not really sending things from the field or the deck to the graveyard once you have Herald out, because you're just dumping fairies from your hand. So it could be really useful, and that's definitely a choice that I thought about. And I'm not really seeing too many people run it, but I think it could be really powerful. You won't have to rely on Kristya as much, but having Kristya out on top of Herald sets up the field so well, and you'll have this big attack boost that it could still be a lot better to use Kristya in certain situations. It's also worth mentioning that there are some new cards that aren't on Dueling Network yet. There's a new Herald, and there's, I think, a support card for it, and there's some other interesting things. So if you're interested in this deck type, just in general, just keep an eye on that and look for those cards when they come out. Hopefully by that time I'll be able to make a new build or show them off at some point when they come out. But that's my Herald deck. Again, just focusing on lockdown, bringing out fairies, getting supported by agents, setting up a lot of really cool plays, and having a lot of interesting consistency because of the way it can search out and bring out a lot of interesting stuff. But if you guys have your own Herald of Perfection deck, you can post below. Let me know in the comments. Maybe you have some suggestions for me. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.